Hey everyone, welcome to class. I'm so glad you're here today. Let's just dive right in because we've got a fantastic and honestly, an absolutely crucial lesson today. We're looking closely at Romans chapter 1, verses 26 through 32, and focusing on something you literally deal with every single day, your choices. Specifically, the choices we make and where those choices ultimately lead us. As 8th graders, you're making way bigger decisions now than you ever have before, right? Who your friends are, what you watch, how you spend your time. And those choices, they create a trajectory for your whole life. So, grab your notebooks, get focused, and let's unpack exactly what the Apostle Paul tells us about this journey. Quick look at our whiteboard lesson plan for today's explainer. We're going to start with the fork in the road, then examine sin's downward path, define what a debased mind is, uncover the gospel's saving power, and wrap up with what it means to be a godly learner. Okay, let's jump in.
Section 1. The fork in the road. Choosing your direction. Life is full of intersections. Think about it. Every morning when you wake up, you're essentially standing at a crossroads. Every action you take, every thought you entertain, every habit you form, that's you picking a direction to walk in. We don't just stand still in our spiritual lives, guys. We're always moving somewhere. Which brings us to this really big question. What actually happens when people reject God? Now, I want you to think deeply about this. Sometimes we picture rejecting God as this super dramatic movie scene moment where someone's shaking their fist at the sky. But actually, rejecting God is usually just a series of tiny, daily choices to say, no thanks God, I think I'll do this my way. What are the real-life consequences of walking away from His design? It's not just a rule-breaking issue, it's a direction issue.
Picture this choice like two distinct paths. Over on the left, we've got a path pointing toward honoring God, and on the right, a path pointing toward following sin. If you were sketching out two little signs right now, this is exactly what it looks like. And here's the kicker. You literally cannot walk down both paths at the same time. No way. If you start walking down the right path towards sin, every single step takes you further away from the path on the left. Honoring God keeps you on the trail He specifically designed for you, a trail that leads to life. But following sin? Well, that takes us somewhere entirely different, which leads us perfectly into our next point.
Section 2. Sin's downward path. The cause and effect.
Choosing the path of sin isn't just a one-time, isolated step. It's not like you just trip over a rock, brush yourself off, and you're fine. It's a downward journey. And what we're going to learn from Romans today is that this downward journey has serious, compounding momentum. It's kind of like rolling a snowball down a steep hill, right? It picks up speed, it picks up weight, and pretty soon it becomes incredibly hard to stop. This is the exact progression Paul describes. Step 1 is rejecting God. It starts right there when people decide they don't want God's authority in their lives. But it doesn't stop there. That directly leads to step 2, confused hearts and minds. Because they've pushed away the ultimate source of truth, their internal compass just breaks. They can't see clearly anymore. And that confusion inevitably leads to step 3, following sinful desires. Instead of honoring God, they start approving of things that displease Him. They just follow whatever their broken, confused heart wants in the moment.
So let me pose a question to you. Why is sin so dangerous for our hearts and minds? Take a second to really process that. A lot of times, we just think sin is about getting in trouble, or breaking a rule, or doing something bad with our hands or our words. But Paul is teaching us something so much deeper here. Sin is dangerous because it actually changes how you think. It rewires your brain. It darkens your understanding so much that eventually, what is bad starts looking good to you, and what is good starts looking bad.
Section 3. The debased mind. Losing the signal.
We really need to look at the specific vocabulary Paul uses in Romans to describe this rewiring process. It's a powerful phrase describing the ultimate consequence of this downward path. This is our memory verse for the day, Romans 1:28. Let's read it. And even as they did not like to retain God in their knowledge, God gave them over to a debased mind. Now look at that sequence. They didn't like to retain God in their knowledge. They intentionally chose to push God's truth right out of their minds. And the consequence? God gave them over to a debased mind. But what exactly does that mean for us today?
Well, a debased mind is basically a mind that is completely confused, disconnected from God's truth, and starts approving of wrong things. Think about it like a GPS on your phone. You know when you're driving somewhere, maybe out in the middle of nowhere, and your phone completely loses its cellular signal? What happens? The map just freezes. The little blue dot gets stuck. The voice totally stops telling you where to turn. You're still moving, sure, but you have absolutely no idea if you're going the right way. You are lost. And guys, that is exactly what a debased mind is. When you push God out of your knowledge, you are cutting off your spiritual cellular signal. You lose that connection to God's truth. Your moral compass freezes up. And without that signal guiding you, you just start taking wrong turns, approving of bad choices, and wandering right into danger without even realizing it.
Section 4. The Gospel's Saving Power, the Ultimate Rescue Plan.
Now, if we stopped our explainer right there, this would be a pretty depressing lesson, wouldn't it? Without help, that downward path is way too slippery for us to climb back up on our own. We desperately need a rescue. So let's quickly summarize what we've seen. Sin confuses our hearts. That confusion means we start approving of wrong things. And hear this clearly, 8th graders, everyone naturally faces this danger. Literally, none of us are immune to making bad choices and slipping down that path. Therefore, we absolutely need the saving power of the gospel. The gospel is the incredible good news that Jesus Christ stepped right onto our path. He lived the perfect life we couldn't. He paid the ultimate penalty for our sins on the cross, and he rose again so that our connection to God could be completely restored. He's the ultimate rescue plan that pulls us off that downward path and reconnects our minds back to God's signal.
Section 5. The Godly Learner. Why this matters for your education.
So you might be sitting there thinking, okay, this is great theology, but what does this have to do with me studying math or science or history right now? Well, it has absolutely everything to do with it. As a student, your full-time job right now is developing your mind. But as we just learned, what you fill your mind with and the direction you point your mind changes everything. Check out this incredible promise in Romans 8, verses 6 and 7. To be spiritually minded is life and peace. Wow. Contrast that with the debased mind from chapter 1. A debased mind is confused, it's lost, and it leads straight to destruction. But a mind that is centered on God, a spiritually minded person, they experience true life and peace. And that is the goal for you. We don't just want you to be smart, we want you to have life and peace.
And this is exactly why we approach learning the way we do here. The HeroesMart Academy Godly Learners philosophy is totally foundational for us. We intertwine biblical morality with education because, frankly, education without morality can actually hurt you. Think about it for a second. If you have a debased mind, a mind that approves of wrong things, and then you go and get a fantastic education, all you've really done is become smarter at making bad choices, right? Knowledge and intelligence should help you make wise, God-honoring choices, rather than just making you more capable of causing harm. Like Romans 8 teaches us, keeping the mind spiritually minded leads to life and peace. So, we strongly encourage you to passionately pursue academic excellence. Study hard, get great grades, but do it while keeping your mind completely centered on God, on truth, on wisdom, and on righteous choices.
So, we've seen the downward path of sin, the serious danger of a debased, disconnected mind, and the absolute beauty of being spiritually minded. So I'll leave you with this one final provocative question to carry with you today as you go through your classes, as you hang out with your friends, and as you tackle your homework. Which path will you choose for your mind today? Will you choose the path of pushing God away? Or will you choose the path that retains God in your knowledge, leading straight to life and peace? Ultimately, the choice is yours. Have an amazing day of learning, guys, and keep your minds on Him.